we can have a variable. Let's say the name of this variable is color, and we can save a color, let's say red, in this variable. Okay, so if I try to inspect the variable, I can see that it has saved the color red. But if I want to save another color, essentially what I would need to do is create another variable with the name of color1, and then I can save the name of this color. So now I've got two values saved in two separate variables. So that's one of the approaches in which you can save multiple colors, but that means that you'll have to create a new variable every time you want to save a new color. But one of the approaches is to use an array. An array basically enables you to save multiple values within a single variable. And once you save those multiple values in a single variable, you can easily access any of those values using the variable name and the index. So let me give you an example. You can have a variable with the name of colors, and then you can assign it an array. So this is an array of colors. Basically, it's a list of colors, and this is how you basically specify the multiple values, different values. So you have the first item in your array. It is separated by a comma, and then you can have the second item and the third item. So you have separated each of these values by a comma. And now if I press enter, colors is now holding these three values. So you don't have to define multiple variables and then hold values in those different variables. You can have a single variable having multiple values. Now if I want to access the second item of this array, I'll simply say colors, and then I'll specify the value, the index value, and I'll say color1, and it is giving me green. Now one thing which you need to remember is that it starts with 0 as the first item. The second item is 1, that's why we specified 1, and third item has an index value of 2. So that's a small thing which you need to remember. So that is basically how you can define an array and then access different elements inside an array. Now before finishing this video, just a small thing which I would like to highlight is that array is a special type of an object, and the way we are accessing these different values, you can see that it's very similar to how we access properties within an object. So we can use square brackets to access properties within an object. You can see that in a very similar fashion we are accessing items within an array. But because it's a special type of object, there are certain properties and certain methods which comes out of the box. So you can see those different properties and methods. Okay, so I think the computer wasn't responsive. So you can see these different properties and methods by typing in the array name and then dot, and then you can see the list. So you can see fill and find, and if I go further down in the list, I can see certain other properties and methods which comes out of the box. So let's say I want to know the length of this array. I can simply type length over here. Oh, I just misspelled. So if I say length, and you can see that it has returned me a result of 3. Now length is a property which comes out of the box in an array object. I can give you an example of a method. So we can basically push a new item in an array using this push method, and let's say I want to save another color in this list. So let's say I want to save yellow in colors, and now I can see the length again of colors array, and I can see that it has now 4 items instead of 3. And if I further inspect this array, I can see that it has indeed added yellow in my array. So that was a brief introduction about arrays, how you can define an array, how you can access items within an array, and then because of its nature as it's a special type of object, there are certain properties and methods which comes out of the box, and I've shown you, demonstrated an example of a property length and a method push, and just demonstrated how you can use them. You can use any of the properties or methods depending on the scenario in which you're working.